morning, everyone.
Good
Morning.
How y'all doing today?
Fine, good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that you guys were able to take time out of your day to come and be here with me today during my presentation and listen to what I have to say and hopefully learn a thing or two. So, without further ado, let's get started. My name is Andrew Benjamin, and I'm an undergraduate student at the University of North Texas. And this presentation is for one of my classes called LTEC 4121, Technical Presentation Skills. And the name of my presentation today is Shifting Gears, Driving Technical Innovation in the Automotive Industry. So, just to give you a little heads up, a little primer on what it's going to be about, we're going to be talking about some of the technological advancements that have been going on in the automotive industry in the past 5 years or so. There's really been a lot of changes and a lot of really incredible things going on, and I'd like to share some of that with you guys today, and hopefully, like I said, you'll enjoy and learn a thing or two, okay?
Fantastic.
All right, let's get started. Well, we all probably got here today in one of these. Something we're all familiar with. Everyday automobile gets us where we need to go from point A to point B. We usually don't think too much about it as how it plays into our daily lives, but there's actually quite a lot of thought that goes into cars, and they play a big part in our lives, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit more here as we go. As I said, this slide is basically summarizing, as I said, cars play major roles, and as you'll see here in a bit, different cars can evoke different feelings and emotions, and different cars say different things about different people and who drives them and things like that. So here we go. What do you guys think about these two cars here, and what might you guess about the people that drive them? And what does one car say to you over the other?
My opinion is one car appears to be a family automobile, SUV. The other one is a sports car, which
Correct.
is more of a sporty appeal for the guy that likes to drive fast and have that sporty feel while he's driving.
Or a woman.
Or a woman, absolutely. So this is probably, this person who drives this car is probably a thrill seeker,
Yes.
somebody who likes to have fun and enjoy life.
Yes.
Yes.
The car on the right, the red sports car. The red.
That is the new Corvette Stingray. And what about the other car? What does that say to you?
It's more for utility purposes, getting the family around and
Okay.
getting the kids where they need to be.
Right?
It's not as
Right.
exciting as the.
Not as exciting? I agree with you. Totally. I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. All right. And this kind of is just an example of something I wanted to just throw out there to you guys, just to get you kind of thinking about cars and how they are more of an extension of someone's personality and kind of who they are as a person. So with that, I'd like to talk about some famous cars in American culture, starting off with the Ford Model T that everyone knows is very famous. It's the very first production car that was produced by Henry Ford on an assembly line, which revolutionized the automotive industry and made them cheap and affordable for people all over the country, and they could get it in any color they wanted as long as it was black. So that's probably not the first time you've heard that, but still true. And then there's also the 60s muscle car movement that you guys may be familiar with, the old Challengers, Dodge Chargers of the late 60s, early 70s, that whole era of American muscle. And then there's also NASCAR. Motorsports is very popular. Millions of viewers tune in every weekend to watch the big races and root for their favorite drivers and see big flaming crashes and enjoy themselves watching that. And then there are also famous cars that we know from movies and television, like the famous Batmobile that we've seen in the Dark Knight movies lately, and There's also Kid from Knight Rider, classic 80s TV shows, the famous DeLorean from Back to the Future, Dukes of Hazzard, and of course Fast and Furious, which the new movie just came out this past weekend and raked in, I think, over $100 million. So cars are everywhere we look, and they're in our culture, and it's a big part of America. So are there any other examples or that you might think of, any famous cars I might have missed out on, or any that stand out to you in particular?
I'm thinking in terms of just the Corvette. I think it's like America's only really true sports car that had high performance.
True. Absolutely. The Corvette is one of America's highest performing cars, along with the Dodge Viper. Those are kind of like our equivalent of the Ferraris and Lamborghinis, things like that. So, absolutely right with that one. So, the next thing I'd like to discuss with you guys, if we could just kind of go around and discuss, if you'd like to share with us your first car, and as well as your current car, and what you like about your car, and what makes your car special to you. So if we have any volunteers that would like to go first.
Well, I guess we can go left to right, so I'll start.
All right.
My first car was actually a little Toyota Corolla, and it was definitely what's sometimes referred to as a hoopty. I mean,
We all start somewhere.
yes, it had plenty of miles on it. It wasn't in the best of shape. Had a couple of breakdowns where, my boyfriend had to come bail me out on the side of the highway and rescue me. But I have to say, from that hoopty, I moved on, and I now drive a Jaguar, which I really enjoy.
I'm sure you're enjoying the Jaguar a lot more.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes, the performance is 10 times better than that car was back in my college days. But I really enjoy it. But I've also owned SUV, and it's quite a difference in driving a sedan or a sportier car than the SUV, and I kind of like being up higher and being able to see the highway well, and so I'm kind of considering going back to an SUV.
Okay.
So that's my
We
story.
might circle back around to that.
Okay, my first car was a Dodge Challenger. First car I ever owned, and it was a car that I had during my college days. And I liked it because it was sporty, and I wasn't married, it was just me, so something that I wanted that had sport appeal. And it was a two-door car with bucket seats in the front, and it's a bench seat in the back, and I liked it. It got a lot of compliments on it when I drove it.
Okay.
It was sporty, and today they've modified it where it had made some changes in the new Challenger, which I like it too. It resembles the old Challenger that I had in some ways, but the new one is a little bit more beefier, sits up a little taller, and a little more stocky and beefier.
Right.
So,
But still keeps that kind of classic Challenger style.
right. So
For sure.
that was my first car. You want to know what I drive now? I drive a Chevrolet Avalanche pickup truck that I use for my business, and I like driving it, even though I kind of have some small regrets. I wish I got a Toyota truck at the time. As a matter of fact, I really wanted a Toyota truck, but at the time I was wanting to purchase a truck, it didn't offer a huge back seat at the time. The back seats were very small in a Toyota. But I wanted a Toyota because I figured it would be the best vehicle based on my research and everything. So about 3 or 4 years later, after I bought my Avalanche, then they come out with a bigger back seat,
A bigger Toyota.
bigger Toyota, which I wish they had at that time, but they didn't. So that's why I ended up choosing
The Avalanche.
the Avalanche.
Okay.
But
It's kind of bad timing there.
you're right. But
Okay.
other than that, I've been happy with it.
All right.
So my first car was a Toyota Solara, also known as Pearl. And
How'd you come up with that name?
because of the color of the car. It's
Okay.
a pearl white color. And I was thrilled to get that car.
I bet.
It was a brand new car and given to me my sophomore year in college by my parents. And I still drive that car today. And what I love most about that car is that I do not have a car note.
That's great.
And the body style still looks great and it's extremely dependable.
It's been good to you all these years that you've had it?
Yes,
Not too many
absolutely.
problems?
None, very few problems. If any, it's not even real problems, it's
Yeah.
just more maintenance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Toyota's definitely good on their reliability, for sure.
yes, I'm very happy with
Fantastic.
Toyota.
And the other really impressive thing about the Tesla is that because it is 100% electric and there's no combustion engine, hardly any moving parts, this car has virtually no maintenance
Jeez.
other than, taking care of the tires and making sure all the lights and blinkers are working. Pretty amazing with the, added benefit of virtually no emissions. So
Right.
pretty impressive. And the Tesla is a perfect example of the type of vehicle that we hope to see become more and more prominent going forward in the future. And it is kind of the middle ground between the Prius and the higher performance cars that we looked at earlier. Right now, Tesla goes for around $100,000, depending on what options you get on and things like that. But going forward, as the cars become, people start to see that they're a viable solution, and they actually start to drive them and get a feel for them, and they start to catch on, the market will adapt to that, and you'll start to see the prices come down, and you'll see more affordable models and things like that, and it will only continue to grow from there.
Right.
So, kind of looking forward into the future, as we saw earlier with the Google self-driving car, and the Tesla is a trend towards smart cars, cars that can communicate almost, on the same level that we do as humans, where they can be aware of each other and share information back and forth, and be aware of their surroundings and gather a lot of information that can help with traffic and emergency vehicles and certain situations where there may be accidents on the roads and things like that. But hopefully these technologies can help reduce a lot of those accidents and make the roads a lot safer, and at the same time, help the environment with reduced emissions and things like that, for sure. So we never know what the future holds, but from what we've seen here, it does look pretty exciting.
Yes.
Would you agree?
For sure.
I agree. It's something to look forward to
Absolutely,
in a positive way.
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions for me, or anything you'd like to share something hopefully that you learned today that you'll take away from my presentation?
Well, I stated that, I was a little bit reserved about cars that could drive themselves, and some of the technology
Right.
is just, trying to get adjusted to the whole concept of all that change. But then when you get educated and learn things
Right.
more and more about the technology as you presented the information here, I can feel more comfortable, and I see myself feeling more comfortable just during your presentation with the idea that, this can really help improve all our quality of lives and the way we impact the environment. It can help people that are disabled to be able to have a better
Right.
quality of
Like the
life.
example we saw earlier
Right,
with Steve
yeah.
and his,
In the Google
It's
car,
handicapped,
the
for sure.
Toyota. And also, helping our environment. So, the presentation has definitely enlightened me in how I perceive all this technology and,
right.
and gave me a better comfort level with it. So,
Good. I'm
Yeah.
glad that was my goal here today. Hopefully share some new information with you. So.
yeah.
Yeah, technology is something that we all have to grasp and get comfortable with because it's here and it's coming even faster.
Right.
Especially when you inform us about these new vehicles that that's coming here in the future.
Mhm.
I've got a question regarding the amount of mileage that you can expect to get on a electric car.
Mhm.
Yeah, how many miles do you think you can get on the electric car before you have to recharge it again?
Okay. Well, it depends on the car for sure. Each car is going to be a little bit different, and it depends on the size of the battery, and that's one big factor that will play into the price for different electric vehicles. But on average, I think if I'm right, it's about 120 miles on a single charge. And there's cars with larger batteries like the Tesla I mentioned earlier. They have a model with a much larger battery that can provide up to 265 miles on a single charge. So, anything kind of in between that range, and then I'm sure as things move forward in the future with new developments and how those batteries are manufactured and produced, they'll be able to provide even longer charges. So,
Right.
Good.
Right.
Good.
any other questions or thoughts?
Nothing else comes to mind.
Nothing at the moment? All right. Well, I'm glad you were all able here to make it today. And like I said, I appreciate your time being here to view my presentation. And I'm glad you were able to take something away from it. And
Definitely.
like I said, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good information.